Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin, helping understand the best practice and big picture, but also really just taking a look at traditional markets. I mean, things are down pretty significant in the overall sense of things, so absolutely something we want to understand and just kind of identify, but also look at some key level supports and resistances, kind of see what's going on here. So if you are new to the channel, just know I'm not a financial advisor. Love teaching people to trade. Hope you can learn something here today. If you want to become a better trader, once again, cryptocash.tech is a site, link down below. Next month, in fact, we are raising the rate, so it'd be best to try to get in here and lock in your rate. Again, everybody that's in right now, you're grandfathered in, no problem at all. That will never change, but again, just want to make sure to give you guys a heads up there. They got a lot of new members here coming over, and it's really awesome experience. So speaking of awesome experience, took some healthy profits here recently. Bitcoin, nice little 33% there for our second profit target. And then, of course, 60% for Ethereum for profit target number 2 as well. So a lot of good stuff happening here in our community. And we've got some really, really good trade results, too, for a lot of our members. Everyone's just kicking some serious tail. They're all using Bitget as well, too, which is coincidentally the best exchange in the world. I love it. They're awesome. They provide a $10,000 prize pool monthly for all of my members. So make sure you use the link in the description below to go ahead and register for that. And then obviously if you are in the States, which a lot of my members are, you get 3 extra months free for ExpressVPN if you register here as well. And just keep in mind that is required for any type of leverage trading if you're planning to do that. Okay, so just heads up on that. I have videos on how to register for that as well. But generally speaking, that's what you're looking at. Now, here's the thing with Bitcoin, and just kind of this situation here, right? So we're stuck at about 16,600. We've had about a 1.5% correction so far today for Bitcoin, which may seem like a lot, but it's not compared to, again, a 2.5 to 3.5% correction from traditional markets. So if we can see regular markets going down pretty strong, and Bitcoin following suit only halfway, basically 0.5 of that total movement, it's safe to presume that Bitcoin is closer to its bottom. Again, we never want to be too presumptuous, never assumptuous, but on the same accord here, in this case, we can kind of identify that Bitcoin's, we found somewhat of a support level here. If traditional markets are doing pretty terrible, and then, of course, Bitcoin is not doing as bad. To me, that's a positive sign. Okay, so just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. But if we look here, same old story here. We got rejected off 50 at the RSI, or very close to it. That resistance level at 16,900 is very, very strong. And then, of course, we've got somewhat of a divergence here starting to form, but it's nothing super insane. The bottom line here is that we're kind of just going to be range bound between the 16,000 and 17,000 range. That's kind of just a broad range, but that's generally what we should expect. So I wouldn't expect a breakthrough on either direction unless some kind of fundamental catalyst occurs. If we take a look 4 hour here, we can kind of see that we're below all 3 moving averages. And just to identify, it's the same scenario too here for the daily. We're underneath the 20 and the 50, but just keep in mind, the longer the 50 comes down, the more likely we are to break above that and then just have that natural increase. So I do feel like we're going to see a few green months here coming up, but once again, next year is absolutely up in the air. It's hard to say specifically which months will be good or bad. At this point, a lot of it is based on inflation, traditional markets doing well, and we're not expecting to see that happen right away. But with a 4 hour, you can see once again we kind of lost 50 on the RSI, effectively reiterating that resistance at 16,900. We've got a divergence here also forming, kind of giving us that indication that further downside is possible. Now, there's a difference between possible and probable. Okay, keep that in mind. Below all moving averages, not looking great. There is potential we could see further downside. But once again, if we do see further downside, it should be a bounce off the 16,200 range as a potential worst case scenario in the immediate future. Not saying we can't go lower than that, but generally speaking, Bitcoin's proven to hold fairly well in the 16,000 range. And I think we're looking, I guess, just fairly decent in the overall sense of things. So here's what we're looking at here for the hourly. We want to kind of identify if we're overextended yet. We're down to a 6. So again, as always hypothetical, there's no guarantee you're going to always hit a 9 on TD sequential, because it's basically just taking the 4th previous candlestick and counting up or down. That being said, we're counting up to a 6 at this point. That implies that we might have about 4 more hours of bearish continuation and or the price kind of hangs out here. So to me, if the price can kind of close above 16,600 today, I think that would be a positive sign. That would tell us that we should have support at that level, because you can kind of see here previously that that's worked as a fairly good support. I know we dipped down here pretty strong, but that was an overextension. That's not super common. So again, am I saying to put your stop loss directly below 16,600? Probably not. Not a great call, because of the fact that the price is more likely to continue further down. and get some aggressive candle wicks. That's what cryptocurrency does, and it might be best to anticipate further downside, especially since regular markets are down and the Bitcoin hasn't actually averaged itself out with that same percentage. It's never identical, but for the most part, it's usually a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 ratio for Bitcoin, and we're only halfway there. So there's more room for further downside. It's probably best to anticipate the price could go lower first. We also can see that with the cloud here too, because if we pull up the cloud, we can kind of see we've lost that. We have, we're free and clear of price action, so to speak, and conversion was below the or above the baseline, essentially, just telling us that we are not in great position here for a long trade. Okay, so bottom line, wait for confirmation if you're going to take a long, but simply put, we have decent confirmation that a short might be viable. And again, if you're going to short, I wouldn't say shorting all the way to 16,150. I would recommend maybe having some profit targets along the way, so that way you can get filled, and if the price turns around, you just move your stop loss to break even. Okay, that's kind of the strategy that we have in our community, and it's really a good safe strategy. Keeps you profitable and it helps you understand that you're going to be able to survive to trade another day, because right now it's all about survival. We're not here to necessarily thrive. Don't get me wrong, you can still thrive in a bear market, but it's a little more risky because short trades they carry more risk, right? So again, waiting at this point for a long position would be appropriate. If you're going to short with tighter targets in mind, okay? Because again, fairly bearish, but I don't think we're going to see that bearish continuation last a heck of a long time. I think we're only a few hours away from this discontinuing. I'll be excited to see what the market closes with here today and kind of go from there, because ultimately at this point, it's a little too early to tell, but it does feel like we're going to see a little bit further downside before potential increase. Keep in mind, so far, again, this is still tentative. We are making higher lows, so for lack of better terms, we're making higher lows on the 4-hour. It's not great. Obviously, if we were to close today below 16.6, that would be putting us at a closer, basically parallel lows, and that would essentially be a position where we want to reevaluate and see what's going on. For now, I think that it's fairly decent in the overall sense of things here, and that we should expect the price to come down before it comes back up. All right, so again, not all doom and gloom, but not fantastic either. That is pretty much everything. Obviously, thanks again for joining me here. Hope you learned a thing or two here today. Again, you want to become a better trader, cryptocash.tech. Look forward to working with you. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for your time.